Please welcome to the stage, Ming.
Hello, a very good morning to all. My name is Ming. I'm the co-founder of PolicyPal. PolicyPal is a fintech app, as what Lucy had mentioned. We allow individuals to buy, manage, and understand all your insurance policies in one place. So this is our logo. But today, I will not share with you that much about what I do at PolicyPal, as I don't want to bore all of you out. But I will share with you more about my entrepreneurship journey of connecting the dots across this last 1 year. I'm sure some of you might be wondering, why insurance? It's so boring. Like, there are so many other fun things out there in the finance world, but why do you want to do insurance? A few years ago, I was just like some of you. I was sitting in front of my computer at the start of the year, wondering what to do for my summer internship. So I didn't really know what to do, and I started asking my friends, hey, what are you guys going for? They said, we are joining the top investment banks or the top consulting firms. So I thought, hey, should I do that as well? And being clueless about what to do during my internship, I went on to apply to as many finance-related companies as possible. And after a little while, one finance company called me back, and I was really excited. It was AIG Insurance. And the lady on the phone told me this, hey Ming, we noticed you applied for a role in the audit department, but looking at your CV, you have an engineering background. So why audit? Probably you don't suit the role at the audit department. But what we have for you is another role in the claims department as a claims adjuster intern. So I thought to myself, what's a claims adjuster intern? I've never heard of it before. But fearing that I would not get any other internship for the summer and I was left with nothing to do, I readily agreed to her. And looking back, that was probably one of the best decisions in my life. At AIG, I fell in love with insurance, and you're going to ask me why. At AIG, I was tasked to do a research on where people buy motor insurance policies or car insurance policies in Asia Pacific. So looking at the cities, different cities, certain areas or certain parts of major cities like Jakarta, Manila, Bangkok, they have more people buying insurance, and certain parts there are less people buying AIG motor insurance. So what AIG wants to know is they want to know where there are lesser people so they can send the sales team down to increase the sales volume. But thereafter, coming from the claims department, I asked myself this, can we also do this for motor insurance claims? Can we plot out all the accident locations on a digital map using computer programming and see what we get? So I started plotting out on the digital map with some help from the programming team. And then I realized something interesting. There are some roads in major cities that have more accident than the roads that are parallel to. So I was a little bit puzzled. The roads are of the same size, but why are there more accidents on one road comparing to the next? And then I asked myself, could it be a road design issue? Or could it be a blind spot that someone didn't manage to realize, or the Land Transport Authority didn't realize? So I told my manager, could we flag these points out to the Transport Authority, and we could be saving lives? And I saw on the map of Singapore that there were multiple routes that are more dangerous. And I told him, if we could really flag this out, we could be saving lives of people, not only of regular people that are traveling on the road, we could be saving life of our friends, our family members, and our loved ones. And I'm sure there are such routes in anywhere in the world. And that was the first time when I found, wow, insurance is pretty powerful, as well as data analytics. So I went on back to school for my final year, and I started telling my friends, hey, I really want to do insurance, be an insurance underwriter. They all stared back at me and say, hey, do you know what you're talking about? Like, insurance is so boring, no one talks about it. People are talking about going to the tech companies, the banks, the consulting firms, but no one talks about insurance. Like, why insurance? So I say, hey, you guys don't know what you guys are talking about. I know. I started applying for my graduate job at the London insurance firm. So I applied to multiple London insurance firms. But to my surprise, after submitting every application, I got rejected after 2 minutes. And I was pretty puzzled. And it went on for a month and a half. And then I came to realize that, hey, as a foreign student, non-EU citizen, working in UK, in an insurance company as a fresh grad, will just not get you a visa. This is part of the UK regulations. So I thought, oh, maybe I should just head back to Singapore and find something else to do. And I forgot about insurance. And after I graduated, I went back to Singapore. But after a little while, I met a friend. She was my ex-colleague when I was working at AIG. She introduced me to her friend that was starting a startup called PolicyPal. And then within the first meeting, we connected instantly because we all felt that insurance is something really misunderstood to people in our generation. We felt that insurance should be simpler and easy to understand for people around us. We both saw the power of insurance to help the many lives around us. In 10 startups, 9 will fail. If you are planning to run a startup for fame or for money, I urge you to reconsider. Working 80 to 100 hours a week over the last 1 year was no easy feat. You need the support of people around you. You need the purpose in what you do to go forward. So, moreover, running a startup wasn't second nature to me. My dad was an entrepreneur, surprisingly, for the last 40, 50 years of his life. Since I was a kid, he have always been preaching to me, say, hey, Ming, run a startup or get your own business after you graduate from school. I always tell him, no, it's going to be so tough. Because I saw how much effort he had put in to his own business when I was a young kid growing up. I didn't see him at weeknights, I didn't see him over the weekends because he was around the world running his business. So I thought, maybe I didn't want to do something like this back then because I wanted more free time and I wanted more time to spend with my loved ones. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is trust. To run a startup, you got to trust. Trust your partners, trust your colleagues, trust your loved ones, and trust yourself. Why do I say so? Running a startup doesn't only affect you, but it also affects the people around you. It's important to know that they will be along with you on this journey. So you need to find people you can trust in order to build something fast, especially while working in a startup where it's always fast-paced. And because of that, at PolicyPal, we are able, over the last 1 year, because of the trust we have, we are able to build the world's first insurance mobile app with optical character recognition technology. And you may be asking me, hey, what's this optical character recognition? Sounds like a big word, but it's nothing difficult. It's basically capturing information from insurance policies and bringing it into your mobile phones within 20 seconds. So now consumers like you and me can all do this with our existing insurance policies. This is some screenshots of what the PolicyPal app looks like. It's already on the App Store on both Android and iOS. We have now 25,000 users, only based in Singapore. And every day we get feedback from users that are coming on to say, hey, this is something good. I've never seen an app like that. And it encourages us to move forward because of the meaning that we saw to help the many individuals around us. And we hope down the road we can expand to more countries in Asia. Before I end this, I would just like to share a short quote from the late Mr. Steve Jobs. Not so sure if you can see, but what he mentioned at the Stanford commencement a few years back, you cannot connect the dots moving forward. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. So you just got to trust that the dots will connect somehow. Trust your life, your karma, your gut, your destiny, whatever. You got to trust the process. 3 years ago, if you have asked me, will I work in the insurance industry? I would never thought I would work in the insurance industry. I would never thought that I would run a startup, let alone a fast-paced, high-growth fintech startup. I would never thought my visa would be rejected for my dream job because of a country's regulation. I would never met my co-founder if I have never gone for the AIG internship, which I readily agreed within the next 10 minutes. And lastly, I would never imagine speaking here to all of you sharing my journey. No matter how much we can plan, or no matter how lost some of us are at this stage, not to worry. Everywhere we go, every place we go, Be it an internship, any person that we talk to, a conference, we can all learn something from it. Give life your very best, and life will give its very best to you. Thank you so much for listening. I wish you all the success in life. Thank you. Okay, sorry, I'm a little blind, so I got to walk here. Okay. Many opportunities are based on grades and academic achievements, but education nowadays teaches us to follow rules and obey. Isn't it contradictory? I think it really depends on how you perceive education. To me, if you perceive education as a piece of paper that you want to get out of it, and you want to do the best, you want to get the best grades out of it, of course there are rules and ways to get the best grades out of it. But if you are looking at education as something you want to empower yourself for the future, learning something that is different from what people are learning, to me, education is something really powerful. So that's my answer for that. What would you say is the key to your success? I think to the many entrepreneurs here, I would definitely say for myself is hard work. Working 80 to 100 hours a week is no joke. It affects everyone around you because people will feel painful, especially your loved ones. Why are you working so hard? Will it eventually work out? That's the common question that people will ask. But you just have got to believe in it. Because when you believe in something, it will radiate out to the people around you, and they could feel it. Where in Asia is the best place for startup? Wow, that's tricky. I would be biased and say Singapore. But I would say there are many cities growing, be it Korea, Japan, like Tokyo, Seoul, Hong Kong, even Indonesia. Like everyone is talking about Indonesia now because after like the major piece in US, China, and India has been conquered by companies such as Amazon. Or even for the e-commerce space, like people are all looking at Indonesia. So I think it's pretty exciting to be able to see how Indonesia grows and how Southeast Asia grows from now on. How did you manage to raise the funds required in the insurance industry to pay big claims? Okay, so for us, we are not an insurance company. We are an insurance app. We work sort of like a digital insurance broker, where we work as a B2C platform, C being the consumers, and B being the insurers. So we are the intermediary. The policies that we transact on our platform are all from the insurance companies, so they pay for the claims, not us. What is the most important thing for you to insure? Wow, that's tough. I think it's definitely to insure yourself, having good education, mixing with good people, coming for events like this, not to patronize the event, but I think at the end of the day, learning from people, because everyone comes from different walks of life, and I think that there's always something we can learn from everybody. Is there any more? Future of insurance, as you said, it enables the analysis of great amount of data which is used to save lives. However, I believe this data could be found in other means. True, we can always find data from many sources, such as, take for example, health insurance. Instead of the data coming from the claims that people make, you can get data from hospitals. Working with governments, working with hospitals, if they are keen to provide you with the data, it's another source of way for you to get data. And I'm sure there are many other touch points for different forms of insurance. Okay. What did you do to get your internship? Basically, I applied and I called. I think it's a role that they just opened up and they didn't want to go through another screening process. So the person just told me, do you want it or not? So I told the person, okay, because I was afraid that I would not get another internship over that summer. Is that all? Only 10% of startup works. What would you tell people who get broke after trying, sometimes at the point of thinking about suicide? Wow, that's serious. But I think that's something very real in the startup world. It's highly pressured because what the world perceives is different from what you are actually facing, the amount of stress that you face, be it from investors, be it from your stakeholders, is enormous. And I think we all need a way to de-stress and to get a balance in the work that we do. But I will honestly tell you, it's really, really hard. I don't have a solution. I don't have an answer for that question. But I would say try your best. Have friends that you can talk to, be it in the startup world or out of the startup world, because they will be your support pillars as you walk on this journey. Any question from the audience? Oops, sorry, I can't really see. Anyone? When to quit?
Okay. I try not to make it very long so that we don't. Okay.
I think this is a very interesting question and a very good question, I would say. Knowing when to stop. Honestly, I would tell you, I wouldn't know when to stop as well. Like, let's face it, we all believe in something and we hope that the thing will go well. But I think constantly questioning what you are doing from people, be it out of your startup, people that can see other startups that are growing. Are you in the right industry? Do you have a market to begin with? Do you have product market fit? So I think it's a lot of iteration. It's not so much about when to stop, because you try and fail, until a stage where you know that probably that's not a market that you should go into, or because you can't find product market fit. That's what people always talk about in startups. So find your product market fit as early as possible. I'm not really sure what product you are building, but always question and iterate on a day-to-day basis. What can I do better? Or what other ways can I reach out to more consumers? Yep. Any more from this side? Yep.
What is your biggest mistake? What did you learn from?
Wow. That's tough. But we had one very big mistake when we were building PolicyPal app. We had a big launch where we first were able to start selling insurance policies. It was tied together with the Monetary Authority of Singapore. So that was the Central Bank of Singapore. So the Central Bank of Singapore were announcing that we got into the fintech sandbox. But what happened was we released the iOS app 1 week earlier, but the app wasn't approved. And we had to delay the launch with the government involved and with major press involved. So that was a pretty scary experience. I remember calling to Apple USA and telling them, hey, can you please check my app and ensure that it's fine? Approve the app because we have a government level launch. So that was, I think, one of the biggest mistakes, because we planned the launch on 1st of March, but planning it at the start of the month is always tricky because everyone else in the world wants to launch an app at the start of the month. So always bear this in mind if you are running an app. Yeah.
And what is your experience working with the people from the insurance sector? We are ready. Are we ready to transform ourselves, or we need more to be more in this kind of events?
I think insurance companies are growing really fast. Insurance being one of the last market to be disrupted in the world, the insurance companies are moving at an extremely high pace over the last 1 year. The InsurTech wave came out in late 2015. So over the last 2 years, I would say, insurance companies have been moving very fast, including partners like AXA that we work with in Singapore. So, I mean, no one knows where exactly should we head, but insurance companies are always coming out with new innovations to try to deliver a better digital experience to consumer or better claims experience to consumer. So I thought that's really interesting. And I think the European insurers, when we spoke with insurers in UK, they all have a plan on where they want to head to. So they know what they want to do with their innovation vision. Be it they want to use blockchain, AI, or different other forms of new technology or deep technology. So I thought that was very interesting. And I think definitely from a startup point of view, the insurance company can move a lot faster. But I think as a giant, it's going to be hard. But at the speed where they are moving right now, I think it's sufficient. Okay.
We see that your business is growing really fast, and how you're going to cooperate with insurance companies, and how do you see your business and yourself in 10 years?
Wow, 10 years, that's a long time. Honestly, I've never thought about what's going to happen within the next 2 years. Like, let's be honest, like, you don't know how the startup will run. You try your very best, like what I mentioned just now. You can, no matter how much we plan in our lives, if I ask any one of you here, do you know where you end up 3 years later? I would say it's going to be hard to tell, really, really hard, especially at the pace that we are moving in this world, in this time and age. But I think what we can always do is, there's always I always ask myself this question: is this something that I want to do 2 weeks later? If I continue on this journey, working this hard, is this something I want to do 2 weeks later? So every time I ask myself, and I'll ask myself, what do I want to change from now till 2 weeks later? Be it the way I work, be it the way I handle certain products, be it the way I do prioritizing, like what you mentioned, a lot of insurers coming in. How do you manage all of them? Everyone wants to have more profits, right? Including the insurers. So I think it's a lot about asking yourself whether you are doing right. You might not know, but I think talking to people, that really helps. And if possible, find a mentor. And I think he would be able to guide you in the aspect that you want. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah. Okay, I think it's time for me to go. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.